What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the stream. Morph, Mixology, Reptiles. How you guys doing tonight? I feel like every time I come on one of these things, the first thing I do is tell you that I'm freaking tired. But that's the reality. My daughter turns 1 next week, so I've been going nonstop trying to get the yard and everything done for next weekend because we're gonna have some friends and family and that over for her birthday. So it's just been nuts, and obviously now it's egg season, so we've been busy. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about freaking arguably one of the heavy hitters, one of the players in the game for sure. It's been a good friend to me. He's been super helpful since we got started, and there's no denying he makes some insane stuff. So I guess without further ado, we'll bring in the man of the evening, Mr. Will Moroz, man. What's up?
Hey, man.
What's going on, dude? Thanks for hanging out with us. I know it's late. You're in your part of the world, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's all good. All good. How's things on your end?
Dude, like I said, it's been nuts, man. Like I figured out I've been working on this house in some form or fashion for a little over a year. We bought it last June, and I'm still working on it. Granted, there's some downtime, obviously, during the winter. You know, we got winter months like you guys do. So, but our winter was fairly brief, to be honest with you. But I realized the other day, like the last 5 or 6 months, I have just been going non-stop. And It's just been, and then we've had like a month's worth of 100-degree days. So it's just, I'm freaking beat up, dude.
We actually just moved in here. It's been a long process, but worth it.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it. I mean, it's the cool thing about this place versus where we moved from is this was a new build. So now it's like, now I get to take what's already done and make it better as opposed to upgrading an older house. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. We bought a century farmhouse and stripped it right down to the brick, and it's all brand new inside. And I mean, like this is like our third night in there. Like my washing machine is like in the hallway there.
Oh, so, wow. So you're brand new.
There's like a ladder in the kitchen still. Like, it's.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah.
And you've been building a new rodent room or whatever?
Yeah. So we didn't build it. We just bought it. Yeah. A little easier that way. But we actually ended up with a school portable.
One that was already done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So comes insulated with steel siding, wiring all done, everything basically ready. I'm going to throw some new flooring in it. And we painted it white, but 24 by 32 shop. It's
wow.
Plenty of room. Yeah.
That, it's interesting because I saw your Instagram stories about that when they were getting delivered. And I was like, I've thought before, because here I don't have the property space for an actual dedicated facility or building.
Sure.
That's why I built this spot in my garage. But we're planning on, we'll either just decide that we like it here. I mean, my job is looking at a potential upgrade right now, which would bring more money. I mean, it'll work out to, I don't know, another $10,000 or $12,000 a year or something like that. And like, that's a sizable raise. And I was like, at that point, is it really worth our time to move and go to another facility and have to go back in training for another 2 years and all that crap again? So at that point, we might say we might upgrade to a new or a bigger place and stay here. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I got my daughter and I got another one on the way. So at some point, we are going to need a bigger place, whether it's here or in a different state. But when I get to that point where I can do a building, I've looked at options of like buying like the shipping containers, because they're, the steel sides, they're super easy to work with. You can bolt, walls right to it, and it's all good to go. Yeah. But I never thought of buying an already finished portable from a school. I mean, our schools had them too. Most of the classes I went to were in portables, and
and they're 24 by 32. That's generally the conventional size on them. And a lot of the schools, like you can get them for not bad money.
Yeah.
So they're not outrageously expensive.
That's a great idea. 24 by 32 would be far more space than I need for six.
It's loads, man. It's loads. I figure you can, like, just based on the square footage, and what I produce out of the square footage I have now, that size, you should be able to produce 3,000 rats a week, which I don't need, obviously, but
yeah, it's funny because my wife and I were talking about the other day. I've mentioned before I want to order another one of these racks to fill this spot here, and then I'm out of space. This is a 10 by 16 room with a sink, so I don't have a ton of floor space, and I've maximized it pretty well. I mean, there's 160 tubs in here as it is. Yeah. And so, but we were talking about it because I'm going to work with Billy here a little bit when I can actually find a couple minutes to talk to him, or 4 hours, knowing Billy. But I'm going to start working with him to kind of focus, I guess is the best way to put it. What we're doing here, kind of restructure a little bit, do a little bit longer planning, that kind of thing. And my wife and I got talking, like, you know what? My plan of putting another one of these racks here would mean I'd have, I think, 76 tubs, breeder tubs, whatever. And that would warrant me somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 60 clutches on a normal year or something like that. And I was like, the problem is I got a full-time career. I've got almost 2 kids now. I still need a life, that kind of thing. And quite honestly, this room, that would support 60 clutches, but this room will never support 60 clutches a year. There's no way.
60 clutches is a lot.
Yeah, and my incubator's not even big enough for that. I don't have enough hatchling wall space, like none of that. So we're like, well, maybe is what we should do instead is help figure out, kind of restructure. There's 38 tubs in this rack as it is. Why don't we just breed out of here, period? So we'll be like much more specific, work in here, and we can settle in right around that 25 or 20 to 25 clutches a year. I did 19 last year and was just fine. Yeah. And stick with that like 20 to 25 range. I could do a half rack right here with another stainless top and make it like a shipping station, set my computer up on it full time, whatever. And A, I don't spend nearly as much on racks. And B, this room will have set itself like this is a 20 to 25 clutch a year room, period. And it's still enough, that's enough for us a decent side income, but it's not going to take, 60 hours a week of my time either.
Right. That's important.
Yeah.
Right. You want to, especially working another job, it's, you get into the 60 clutch, 60, 70, 80 clutch range and you're into like full-time work.
Yeah. And I have zero desire to go full-time at all,
Right.
And speaking of which, Billy came by to say hi. What's going on, man? Appreciate you jumping in. So yeah, and I dropped a super chat on him yesterday. It's like, I promise I'm not blowing you off. I've just been crazy busy with work and family. I've had overtime every week for the last month and a half, and it's like, and now I got a message this morning that it looks like I'm next on deck to be deployed to one of the remote fire towers in the Pacific Northwest to work air traffic at one of the airports that doesn't have a tower, but is running all of the firefight aircraft because of all the fires and crap. So okay. That's a 12-hour day detail. So I would drive out and live out there for like 6 days and work the traffic. Yeah. It's like, so it's been insane, man. Where are you at how's your season going? Where are you at on your stuff?
I'm pretty happy with the way the season's going, to be honest with you. Some pretty nice stuff hatching out, and it's it's always you never really know what's going to happen. Kind of go into it blind every year, but I'm really thrilled with some of the stuff that's been hatching. We starting to get into some pretty neat DG clown stuff. So
yeah, I saw that was it Enchi or Super Enchi DG clown or whatever posted earlier.
Yeah, that's just the start. That's just the start. Yeah,
I just can't fathom some of the stuff you're doing. And it's like I look ahead. I'm like, man, some of the basic crap. And this is part of the reason I'm trying to work with Billy. It's like some of the basic stuff I'm building around here. Like, it's fine, and I like producing the animals. Don't get me wrong, and I don't have any problem selling what I make, which is always a concern. But like Billy had a good point. It's like, if you're going to spend the money for that male to sit over there and eat, give size, and to breed to that female, why would you want to do that for a $500 clutch when you could do it for a $5,000 clutch?
Initial investment cost.
Well, that's the big one for me because I don't have to.
I mean, a Ferrari takes the same amount of gas as a truck, but
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
So there's that, but
that's
no,
my. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's a good point. I mean, it makes sense. I feel the same way. There's no difference between breeding pastels together than breeding DG pieds together. There's no difference in they eat the same amount of rats, the same amount of tub space. They cost the same. The only real caveat there is the initial investment cost, which is significant.
Yeah, and that's always been my issue because I don't have the resources or the guts, to be quite honest with you, to go big on an initial investment. Like you look at guys like Miguel or JP or whoever, they can go put $200,000 or $300,000 on the table. Yeah, they are making some insanely nice animals, and they're making a lot of money back doing it. But I'm just not wired that way. That's the thing,
Sure. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the slow grind can be great. Yeah. Everyone's so caught up in like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. Bro, do you? Yeah. Do what you like. If you really like making super black pastels, do it, man. Like that's what's going to keep you coming down into the room and keep you like keeping the snakes. As soon as it becomes just a print money factory, it gets really boring really quickly.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. And I struggle with that a little bit too because, granted, I don't put full-time work hours into this place because I don't need to. It's a fairly low maintenance operation now, especially with these new racks and that. And so I'm in here as much as I need to make sure everything's clean and healthy and safe and breeding correctly and eating and whatever. But if it was, I still go through, like, right now the frustrating part is obviously getting hatchlings started on food. That's the part right now. I'm in that zone now where eggs are starting to hatch and they're like, oh, this is that time of year again where I got to sit here and fight with this stupid thing to eat at some point, because if it doesn't eat, then I can't sell it, and then I'm wasting all my time and energy for nothing. It's like, because at the end of the day, obviously it needs to make money. Or I was talking to a colleague of my dad's the other day. We went and visited, and he used to breed cattle, and it kind of blew his. He understood the concept, obviously, because he bred cattle. But he kind of blew his mind when I told him I had 106 snakes in here and I'm going to produce, 150 babies this year and whatever. And he's like, that kind of surprised him a little bit. And I said, but the problem, realistically, there's a lot of people that that are afraid to talk about the money in this because it's a hobby, or whatever. But at the end of the day, if it didn't at bare minimum pay for itself, nobody would have 150 snakes in their garage. That's just stupid,
right.
And so you can still have the passion for it and thoroughly enjoy going and doing it every day, because otherwise, why would you, right? But if I really enjoyed doing it, but it was losing $1,000 a month, I still wouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So that's why when I look at a hatchling rack full of hatchlings and only 10% of them have taken their first meal, I'm like, oh, I still got another month or two before these are even eligible to get out the door and put money in the bank. There's the added stressors of it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, at some point, there's always that tipping point where, like, a lot of people can keep a rack and it's just a hobby. But you get into the multi-rack, operation, and it starts to become, there's a bunch of money in that. Yeah. Now, a lot of people sink a lot of money into hobbies. I mean, shit. I used to, track my motorcycle. Yeah. I wasn't making any money doing it, but I was burning a lot of it doing it. I wasn't making any money, so it wasn't paying for itself. I was paying to do it. But again, it just comes down to, I guess, your risk, your tolerance on a hobby. Yeah, and I think I can guarantee you, Justin's not making money running that Porsche, but. And I know it's not cheap to run that car. No. So that's a hobby that's burning money, right? It comes down to where
Well, and I think that's where people need to just accept or make the acknowledgement that when a hobby becomes a business, because there needs to be a defining line there.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And whether or not it's, incorporated or formulated as a specific business, we're talking about, this is something I don't mind spending money on because I get enjoyment out of it, versus this is something that needs to at least be able to sustain itself, or it's unrealistic to hold on to, kind of thing.
Sure. I can see that. Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm obviously past that line now, to where my goal is, because I enjoy doing it, and it's been a fun experience over the last 4 years, getting from afraid of snakes to being surrounded by them and deliberately breeding them and raising them and whatnot. But now I'm in that stage where the next logical step is a legitimate supplemental income, because I know that it's capable of doing that with not a ton of extra effort. That the difference from what I'm doing today to where I'm doing, throw a number at this guy, 50 grand a year in profit or whatever, is the actual amount of work isn't really any different. And that's where Billy's help is going to come in to kind of restructure things to make it, if we're going to do the work, we might as well make something out of it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Again, it goes back to how much work do you have to put in to get that snake?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the diff. Like, it's the same amount of work, but there's a lot more work beforehand in order to be able to afford that animal.
Yeah, no doubt.
How many hours worked is a DG pied? How many? It starts to become like, it's everyone has different risk tolerance, and if like, dude, I'd be the first one to tell you, buy the most expensive males you can, buy the best males you can. It definitely does something for your collection, but shit also happens.
Absolutely.
Males don't breed. The infected hemipene. There's tons of stuff that can go wrong. Tons of stuff. Your female slugs out. Your girls all take the year off, and you have this $10,000 male sitting there. There's, it's not like just buy these things and everything's okay.
Yeah. And what my plan is obviously I'm not gonna be able to just shift gears here and go drop 50 grand on a handful of animals and really completely restructure the clutch in one season, or the collection in one season. But if we can start being a little bit more deliberate with certain pairings, or maybe sell off some of the extra stuff that I've got that, maybe they're either proven egg layers or they're proven breeder males or whatever, but realistically, they're not getting me anywhere. They're not getting any closer to that next step. You start selling off some of that stuff to recoup some money to maybe invest into one or two other animals that are even more, or stronger for what you're trying to do. And then use that to slowly start building to maybe 3 or 5 years from now, where, granted, we're all, everybody that does this is going to be behind somebody else.
Sure.
I mean, let's be honest. Justin is behind somebody in some project. He's probably behind you in DG Clowns or whatever.
I doubt it.
Well, but I
doubt it.
There's nobody that can be.
You guys underestimate that collection, dude.
That's fair. It's been a while. It's been a few years since I've been down there, so who knows what it looks like now. But
just look at the clowns he hatched. Look at the clown females in his rack. And he had a DG clown. I mean, put two and two.
Okay, perfect example. Ozzy just posted not too long ago I don't remember all the genes, it doesn't matter, but some crazy candy pied combo.
Sure, yeah.
Justin is obviously behind Ozzy in candy pieds because Justin doesn't make candy pieds.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
It doesn't matter how good you are, you're always behind somebody. So trying to catch them is irrelevant. There's no point.
That whole like catch somebody is a backwards mentality. It makes no sense to me. Catch them, why?
Yeah.
Like for what? Oh, you want to be the first one to make it? For what? An ego pump? That's really what it is. Outside of that, what I'm looking at is it a marketable snake? Do a lot of people want it? Because I can easily make world's first all day long. But if they're not like notable and like have something but like some sort of market presence, who cares?
Yeah.
I can make all the oh, this is the world's first leucistic. It's got 24 genes in it. But it's still a white snake, who cares? And so I don't care if I make it first or third or 50th. I really don't care. I care about making a healthy animal that the customers are going to get that, does well in their collection. And, it's, do you want to hatch it? Of course you want to hatch it. Do you want to hatch it first? Honestly, it's not whether I hit it first or second. I just want to see it as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I want to be like right there trying to make it. But, and some of these combos, it becomes like a little bit silly to be like, the term world's first, it needs to just go because everything from here on out is a world's first.
Well, and when I was at Justin's place last time, he told me, because I had mentioned that too, he's like, I don't care to be the world's first. I want to make the world's best.
Yeah. Exactly.
And granted, he's doing both, but, it's like, and it's funny because I went down and I visited Jay Brewer, and I like Jay a lot. He's a fantastic dude. He's a super nice guy. He's obviously very knowledgeable. But it seems like every single time he cuts a clutch of retake eggs, it's the world's first this, world's first that. At the end of the day, who cares?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel too.
Like, just make cool snakes. It's like...
I'm fairly confident we just hatched a world's first DG clown.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's the first one. I just care that I hit it. I'm just, it's it just want to make stuff, man.
Yeah, and let's be honest. If you make a world's first, you may not even know what it is because you got nothing to compare it to.
Pretty much. Well, I mean, dude, you start to get into like, we can just use clown as an example, right? Look how hard Pompeii is to make. It's a very difficult animal to make. It's a 1 in 16 with a Pompeii. With the Pompeii to a clown, it's still a 1 in 16 to reproduce it.
Wow.
So it's not like it's an easy thing. It's a 4-gene combo. So 4-gene, the clown's a wash. A 4-gene to a normal is a 1 in 16 to create another 4-gene. And it just like, these things are not going to be easy to make. And then you start to add hypo on that, or desert ghost hypo, or, you start to just stack other recessives on there. And like, it's going to be a world's first and world's only for many years because it's so hard to reproduce that. Like a desert ghost hypo Pompeii, that's where the industry's going. But I mean, at least that's where I'm going. But it's that's the direction that I'm heading, and it's you start to get into these 4 or 5 gene triple recessives. Like, dude, make another one.
Yeah.
Make another, like literally, even if you have triple recessive females, make another one, bro. It's hard to do.
Where I know this is kind of an open-ended question, but where do you think the end is?
I don't think there is.
I mean, there's got to be a finite number of combos eventually.
Yeah, there is.
Or at some point, everything turns white. You know what I mean?
Well, I could spend the rest of my life just trying to make all the clown combos that I've seen that I like in Desert Ghost. Easily.
Wow, that's a good point.
Easily.
Yeah, because it could. I mean, depending on how prepared you are with females and that. I mean, you could be 4, 6, 8 years just to get to where you're ready to start making the visuals again. Depending if you're gonna start going into like doubles, you have to make hets and the whole 9. And like,
all you have to do is to throw a super it, make a super form. Fuck.
Yeah.
I need that gene on the female side too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh damn, make a super OD white lace super enchy DG clown. It's like, bro, I need to have,
Yeah. How many building blocks? Yeah.
Double hat or clown hat. It becomes like next to impossible. So I could spend the rest of my life alone, easily, just making DG clown combos, and then if you add a hypo on there, it just becomes like best of luck,
Yeah.
And so when I hear like, is there, when does it end? The answer is really it doesn't. It doesn't end because I did a little bit of math on I took the genes that are on Morph Market, right? And that's not all the genes. There's thousands more, and there will be more and more and more popping up here and there. But maybe not thousands, but there's a lot. And I think with just the genes on Morph Market, there was like 16,000 possible double combinations. And this wouldn't be a 4 gene would be a double recessive, right? Because it's 2 copies.
Yeah.
So there's 16,000 possible, 16,000 and change possible doubles. Then it went to like 98,000 possible triples. Then as soon as you got into the 4 gene, it was like something like 1.7 million possibilities. And then you get into the 5, and it was into like the 100 millions. And then you go to 6, and it was into like, multi-billion combinations. And, you have 80 genes on Morph Market. How many 6 gene combos are there with 80 genes? Like, it's like endless. You couldn't, Now, granted, 400 million of those will be white for sure, but that still leaves 400 million combos. And a bunch of them look the same. A bunch of them will look, but it blows my mind that every year we see stuff that's never like, what the hell? That's a ball python.
Well, it's like when Justin came out with the Kraken video.
Yeah.
I looked at that. I'm like, okay, first of all, do you actually? And he might. Justin is like a savant with this stuff, I feel like, and we'll get to what I'm thinking further down the road. But his long-term mindset far exceeds 99% of us that are doing this. But he also has the stuff in the racks that he can say, all right, next year I'm going to make this, but when it's ready, we're going 5 different directions with it at the same time. So 3 years from now, it's going to be that exponentially more, So,
absolutely, guys.
But when that Kraken came out, I looked at it, I was like, did you deliberately go to that combination of genes because you thought that's what it would look like?
I don't think it's necessarily he thinks it would look like that, but I think he has an understanding that these genes lined up could be magic. I think he knows that. There's no way that you end up stumbling onto all of these combos all the time without an eye for it.
That's fair.
That's you see lots of guys with good collections, lots of guys with really impressive stuff, but they don't keep making like these crazy animals. Yeah. I don't make animals like this, and I have a nice collection of stuff. But I don't think I have the eye like Justin does. I think Justin can look at things and go like, oh, like, do you see how this has like the slightest little bit of flaming here? This will incorporate really well into this. And then when you take these 2 genes and you add these 2 genes, this gets a cool reaction. And then we put that over here. And he has like the eye and the brain for it. He's a really smart guy. Like Justin knows what he's looking at, and subtleties that I think he's probably one of the only guys in the industry that has that kind of eye.
Well, and the thing I say it's frustrating. I respect the hell out of what Justin does, but half the time I look at, his videos he puts up every week, or he'll put something on Instagram or whatever, and I'm like, the fucking guy doesn't miss. Is that way it feels? Obviously he does. We all have clutches that are either they go bad or you don't hit the odds or whatever, right? But it seems like even when he screws up, he gets it right. Like he did that, was it the OD Pie or whatever clutch recently and hatched 3 axanthic pies in it randomly? Yep. Like the fucking guy doesn't miss. Even when he misses, he doesn't miss. You know what I mean? And I know that's not the case, but that's the way it looks, What? But
that's why you're not going to see the misses. And Justin, he posts a video a week, so that's 52 videos, highlights 52 different new combos, I guess, or new clutches. Those clutches, 52 clutches out of 250. Yeah. Right. That's telling me something. That says something, that there's a lot of misses that go on there. It doesn't. There's a lot of misses here. There's a lot of misses at Aussies. There's going to be a lot of misses everywhere. It doesn't matter. You start to get into this stuff, and some combos don't end up the way that you think they will. Some end up way better than you thought. And sometimes you hit the combo and it's like, you know what? Wasn't what I was thinking. One more gene and boom, it sets it off. I can say black pastel, red stripe, spot nose clown. Fantastic looking animal. No doubt about it. But not like, holy shit, what is that?
Yeah.
Add yellow belly. Boom. The whole snake changes.
Ridiculous.
The whole snake changes. And then you can go black pastel, red stripe, yellow belly clown. Okay. Pretty much what you're kind of thinking. Add spot nose. The whole snake changes. And it's those genes in concert with each other that make that animal. And that is what Justin is really, really good at doing. Finding those genes and making them mesh.
Yeah, he mentioned in one of the videos recently, he's like, I think it was a head. He's like, this is a, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure it's a this, that, when he was, I think it was when Barczyk was down there.
Okay.
And it might have been on Brian's video. And anyway, he said, this is a 6-gene het clown combo. He said, but the amazing thing is all 6 genes are represented here and you can see all of them and none of them override each other. Like, how the hell would you ever figure out to do that? It's like,
that's the thing.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's the thing. It's very impressive. Very impressive. We breed cool stuff, but it's not like Justin just does it differently.
Yeah.
And he's got the marketing, and he's got his business is like nice to look at. It's like a clean, it's a good looking brand.
Yeah.
He's never involved in gossip and drama, stays out of all that stuff, and just makes nice stuff and makes it available to the masses and shows us what's even possible. And everybody in this industry right now should be thanking him.
Yeah.
Because he put it on his back and revived the industry.
Absolutely. And we all benefit from him making insane combos. Because I remember I have a red striped GHI male that I got from him in an initial package deal that I did right as I was getting started. And that's when I was down visiting his place. And we went through a couple different iterations, whatever. And this male was in all the packages. I was like, all right, man, you got to explain this one to me because this one doesn't make sense. And it's the most expensive one in this grouping or whatever. And he said, he basically told me, he's like, you're just going to have to trust me on that. If you're going to go that way, just trust me on it. I was like, and the thing I liked is he wasn't trying to be a salesman. If I came to your place and said, hey, Will, I've got $3,000 to spend with you, what should I buy? You're not just going to go to your hatchling rack to what's ever left over from last year and hand it to me and say, you need this one because you want it off your shelf. Right. And he didn't either. He said, send me what you have already and I'll build you a package that makes sense, which was awesome, right? But he's like, just trust me on that one. So he did. I ended up buying it, and I saw the Pompeii while I was there because right after it had hatched.
Yep.
And I didn't know I didn't know what it was. I can't read his decoded tub labels anyway. I don't know what any of it means. And 2 weeks later, he unveils the Pompeii at Tinley. And I had people banging down the door at my house trying to buy that red striped GHI male for 2 and 3 times what I paid for it.
Yep.
And so we have all, every time he does something, he came out with the chocolate Batman, chocolate went up. He came out with all of the Magma projects. Red Stripe's gone nuts for the last 4 years, whatever it is. So we all, no matter how expansive or basic our collections are, benefit from the crazy combos and crap that he puts out.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
Absolutely. And I remember what I actually wish I had bought that animal. But Justin used to do the Google Docs for his availability. And now it seems like it's mostly Morph Market. And I would watch that Google Docs like a hawk. And I would just every time something new came up, okay, no, that's not something I'm looking for. And I remember this is got to be 2015, maybe 2016. There was a red stripe het clown combo up. And it sat there. Yeah. It sat on that dock, and I was watching it, and I was like, oh, that's something different. That's not something you see every day. Like he's doing something with that. And you could tell. It's just one animal that just popped up. There was no video. There was no talk about it. And just on his availability doc. And I actually messaged him on it, and it had just sold. And then I kind of like let it go. And then like 3 years later, Pompeii. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's what that was.
Yeah, whoops.
He was already tinkering around with that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I was gonna we can toot Justin's horn all night, I'm sure, but
yeah, bro.
But like same thing for you. I mean, you're up to how many clutches do you generally? What's your target number typically?
This year we're a little low. This year we'll be in the 65 range. Next year, I mean, shit, I could be in the 150 range, no problem.
Oh wow. That's a dramatic uptick. Well, if you're doing that, then how do you, rather how or why, whichever works better to answer it, do you look ahead and figure out what it is you want to make, what you want to try to make? Are you looking 3 years from now? Are you looking 10 years from now? Like, how do you gauge where you move your projects forward with?
I mean, having the option to pivot is very helpful. Okay. I knew from the get-go that I wanted to do Desert Ghost stuff, right? And then I just started, okay, let's start to make Desert Ghost double hats. Made it across the board. And basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to baseline Desert Ghost as my gene throughout the whole collection. Not my gene, but just a gene that I like. And baseline it throughout my entire collection, which we're getting pretty close to that. Got a lot of hats, and once you decide that I'm gonna go Desert Ghost and I'm gonna do everything that I do is gonna be based off of Desert Ghost, it becomes things start to happen very quickly for you. Right, so now I have DG Pied, and I have DG Clown, and I have DG Puzzle, and DG Hypo, and DG G-Stripe, DG Axanthic. Now I can just go like, oh, DG Axanthic to DG Puzzle. Everything's DG, double head Axanthic Puzzle. In the meantime, I'm working on double head Axanthic Puzzle stuff, right? And then I grow those up, and they pop together, and now it's Axanthic Puzzle, het DG, you know, and you start to just continuously roll that way. But every year I focus on, like, anytime I buy a male, I'm not worried about what he's going to make me. Like, honestly, I don't care about recouping his investment, because that's, at the end of the day, it becomes peanuts. What I'm worried about is what that male's offspring are going to be producing. I don't care. The 1 year, 2 year thing, pretty short-sighted. I want to see, you know, I want to start making the double hets, making visual hets, and loading them with good codons, not loading them with spider, pinstripe, lesser, pastel. I don't want to do that. I want to load it with orange dream, yellow belly, spot nose, enchi, blackhead, cypress. You know, these codons that we're seeing give crazy reactions when you start to put them together. Cypress red stripe. What the fuck? They look like that? You know? Yeah. Okay. What does a Cypress red stripe hypo DG look like? Let's start working on it. And I can't get there unless I make Cypress het DGs. Cypress het double het hypo DGs, or Cypress DG het hypos. Start to do that. One of the things we did was we went Desert Ghost Clown like crazy. And I just made hats for days. For probably 5 years, we've been making double het DG Clown combos. And what ends up happening that a lot of people don't realize is double het to double het is the same odds as visual to het. It's just two recessives at play instead of one.
Okay.
So clown to het clown. 50% of the clutch is visual recessive clowns. Mm-hmm. Double het DG Clown to double het DG Clown. 50% of the clutch is visual recessives. One's a Desert Ghost, one's a clown. When you get lucky, you get the DG Clown.
Yeah, 25% is both. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But when you start to stack up combos, now you're making meaningful Desert Ghosts and meaningful Clowns in the same clutch. And they're 66 head each other, and they tie all back in together. And, you know, so don't sleep on double het stuff. You know, double het, I want 3, 4, 5 gene double het females. And then I just get a really good male, and away you go.
Yeah, and that seems to be one of the challenges that like that we're facing is I don't have like multi-codon combo visual anythings. That's first problem. Or I don't have 4, 5, 6 gene combination females that I can put a visual clown to or whatever to make those multi-codon heads. You know what I mean? And the other issue that I face, and this is just a factor of a growing collection that we have to grow organically from the inside out, I have one visual clown female. I have one visual DG female. I have one visual ultramel female. I got 2 visual hypo female. I don't have enough of any of them.
Right. And so to me, right off the bat, I'd focus on 2 of those. You want to do ultramel? Drop the clown. You want to do hypos? Drop the DG. You know, trying with a small collection, trying to run ultramel, hypo, DG, clown, pie, it just becomes, I get 2 clutches, 3 clutches in that project every year. It's not, you're not getting these big, and with some of this stuff, man, the more eggs you can put down, you know, every time you hatch something, and the odds are like spinning a roulette wheel, right? Yeah. You know, if you say to me, hey, what are the spin this? It's a 1 in, 36, I guess, to land on a 00. Okay, cool. But you tell me you have 25 shots to spin that. Okay, I feel a bit more confident about hitting that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right? It's still a 1 in 36 chance. I just take 22 chances at it. Right? Yeah. It just becomes, you know, that much more meaningful. So I would focus on 2 recessives with a smaller collection, and then you start to work on that as a double and start refining that double and adding your codoms into that double recessive, and you're working, you know, let's say it's hypo ultramel. You're working hypo on one side, ultramel on the other side, and hypo ultramel together, and that way your collection all ties together. That's, you know, you're building your hypo stuff up here and your ultramel stuff up here. Well, they tie together because you're working hypo ultramel. But if you're working ultramel over here and you're working hypo clown over here, the ultramel has a hard time tying into that without another 3 to 6 year wait.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you could do, like, let's say right now I have the ability to do, for lack of better terms, I could do a Mojave hypo to my pinstripe ultramel to make double heads now.
Sure.
And save all of the girls, sell off all the males, then spend 2 years making more hypo multi-codon combos and more ultramel combo over here. And in 3 years, put now a Orange Dream, Yellow Belly, Mojave hypo male to a, you know, whatever, a Black Pastel pinstripe ultramel female, and make a 5 gene combo that I can put a male back to all the original females from the beginning. And then now you're stacking them that way.
Right. And now now it's a 5 gene to a 2 gene. As long as they're meaningful genes and they all work together, you can't
of course
that combo out of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I looked at that a lot. I was looking at, like, okay, you know, the genes that I really tried to focus on was Orange Dream, Lace, Yellow Belly, Fire, Spot Nose, Leopard, Blackhead, Cypress, Hurricane, Confusion. It was just like any of these combinations are going to be good. So if I have all these genes stacked up in a double recessive on double hets on either end, let's say it's 4 to 4, right? Or that's getting crazy. 3 to 3. When you have 6 possible genes, statistically, when you hit on a hypo ultramel, it's a 3 or a 4 gene combo. And as long as those genes all work together, that's a meaningful combo. Confusion, Blackhead, Fire, hypo ultramel. Whoa, hang on a second. There's a cool direction. You know, but one of the best things, if you're going to run a smaller collection. Maybe pick a triple recessive you're interested in. Pick the 3 genes, the 3 recessive projects, the 3 recessive genes in the triple, and then start. Let's say it's hypo-G-Smith clown. Okay?
For me, it's probably going to be ultra clown pied.
Ultramel clown pied. Okay. Start making double het ultramel pieds. Start making double het ultramel clowns, and start making double het clown pieds. Have all of those growing together. So because when something comes available and you're like, this is the perfect male. Let's say a ultra pied het clown comes available and you're able to grab it. It ties into all of that stuff. It ties into it all. And now you're making ultra pied het clowns, pied ultra, or ultra pied het clowns, ultra clown het pieds, clown pied het ultras. And it's just like, okay, now I'm rolling in the triple recessive project. And then you can start to plug other codoms into it, and but having like a baseline in your collection is very important. As you're growing projects up, you should be growing like, I always look at like a good metaphor kind of thing. It's like a bunch of trees, right? Your collection starts off when you plant a bunch of trees. They're a bunch of just sticks, and that's each project that you're starting growing up. And then as they mature, once they've grown up, the whole canopy is what you're making, and it all ties together. So your whole collection, as you've started all these projects, will eventually all tie together. And so I don't want to work a project that I can't tie in to the current collection.
Yeah. So the trick is figuring out how to do that without 150 clutches a year.
I've never hatched 150 clutches.
That's you know what I mean, though.
But yeah, it's not that crazy. Like the thing that most people do is they take the easy road. I want to make visual ultramels right now. I want to make visual hypos right now. That is what's stopping you from doing it. I
did that.
Yeah, everybody does. That's what's stopping you from taking that next step, because you cannot get to these double recessive combos. You cannot do it without doing the pairings. It's not not possible unless you're willing to shell out the money to buy them. Then you can do it. But even then, to reproduce them and to improve on that combo, you still need to have the double hets or visual hets to remake it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of where I was getting at with the fact I've only got one clown and one ultramel. I'm always looking at when I go to set up my breeder board for the season. I'm like, okay, do I use my ultramel female with my combo ultramel male to make ultramels this year because they sell well and that's good, $500, $800 paychecks makes, or do I sideline her for a double het program, or put the clown to her or something, but now I'm not making ultramels, and half of what I make out of that I'm going to keep anyway, so that cuts into the bottom line. Like if I had 5 ultramel females sitting here, it would be a different discussion because I wouldn't have to weigh that option back and forth.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you go with the do you get rid of those hypos to bring in a couple more ultramels? Do you remove the Desert Ghost to get an ultramel? You're going to move the Desert Ghost. I'll send you an ultramel for that Desert Ghost, no problem.
No, because my pin DG is Posset Pied, and I'm going to prove that one out next year. So
yeah, so I mean, like if you had, instead of an ultramel and 2 hypos, 3 ultramels, this becomes, wait a second, okay, this is much easier for me to one female goes to this, one goes to this, one goes to this. No matter what, generally 1 or 2 will go, and you're getting an ultramel clutch every year. There's a reason why I have so many visual Desert Ghost females. I don't know how many I have, but there's a reason that I just keep the visuals, because now I have so many options when it comes to making new Desert Ghost stuff. I'm just sort of like, okay, this year I want to put into Tri-Stripe. Boom, Tri-Stripe to 4 Desert Ghost females. Let's make some double hats. A clown to 2. Let's get some new genes. I don't have GHI in my DG clown. Okay, well, GHI Desert Ghost females getting bred by a cool clown male. Like, and I look at this stuff every single year. It's like, what do I not have in that project yet that I want to? And if I want to get it in, how can I get it in? Am I able to get it in with what I have currently? If not, I should be buying it.
Yeah, and I one of the pieces of advice I've heard Billy say numerous times on his show too is he in particular does not buy a male until he's already got 3, 4, 5, 6 females that are nearing ready to go for that male. Because if you're going to spend the time to raise it up, feed it, breed it, whatever, and you've only got one female to breed it to, you're rolling the dice on whether or not that male's ever going to be able to produce something that even makes you any money, because your female, like the reason what brought that up originally is my pin DG Posset Pied. I bought a Pied Het DG from Justin, but that's the only thing that male goes to.
Shouldn't be.
Well,
Shouldn't be.
I'm trying my damnedest not to make a bunch of 50% Posset stuff too, if I can help it.
Why? Half of them approved.
Yeah, but I can't keep them all. That's the problem. I am super limited on space. So the number of holdbacks has to be.
Or DG Het Pied?
What's that?
Pied Het DG or DG Het Pied?
It's Pied Het DG. The male is.
Pied Het DG. So, like, yeah, that may have been a little bit jump the gun on that. But then again, at the same time, if she's ready and you don't have a male, well, then what? If she's ready and you don't have the male, well, I guess you can always breed a Pied to it and try and prove it out that way.
That was my original plan, because I ended up with a 3-gene Het DG male to use this year. And she ended up continuing to eat and getting to size. She's ovulated. She's ready to go. So I was like, screw it. I'll put that, and I'll make DG stuff right now with that. And then I was trying to figure out what am I going to do to try to prove out whether or not she's Het Pied next season. And at the time, the only visual Pied I had was a Banana. I'm like, I'm not putting Banana anywhere near DG because I just don't know that I'm going to be able to see it. Right?
Turns out you can.
Yeah, but that was my original thought. And I was like, okay, well, I could put a Mahogany Het Pied, but then I'm playing this head-to-head bullshit, and if I only get 5 eggs, I may have missed completely and just not know it. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
And it's like back and forth. And then this one came up from Justin, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's a lot of money, but even when I miss and she doesn't prove, now I've got 100% double het one way or the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
absolutely. The thing with, like, not buying a male unless you have females ready for it. I mean, there isn't really a male that, like, I don't have females ready for. Once you get to a certain point, there isn't many males that you could give me that I'm like, I couldn't find something to breed this to. That's meaningful too.
That's fair. Yeah. Because
I have a group of lavenders, I have a group of pieds, I have a larger group of DGs and pubs.
That comes with volume for sure.
Yes, that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Smaller collection, you got to be much more selective.
And that's the problem. I want to be in all of it, and I also know that, that the money moving forward is in the double and then triple recessive combos. And obviously that means you need just that much more rack space for holdbacks if you're going to make your own double hets, buy double hets, whatever, and start raising them up. Because now you're playing longer odds, which means you need more animals for the odds to even out to where you start hitting visuals of everything.
I mean, maybe. I mean, you can, if you said, okay, I'm going to go, how many bins do you, like, you're going to be like, I'm going to do this triple recessive, and this is what I'm focusing on, right? How many breeder bins do you have? Female tubs?
38.
38. Okay, so let's call it 40.
If I needed these ones, I could have 42. But
okay, so let's say you go 12. 12 of that 40, which will leave you with what, 28? Yeah, 28 remaining tubs. You can even go more than 12. But I was going to say 4 double het ultra pieds, 4 double het clown pieds combos, and 4 double het ultra clowns. Right? Now you have your double hets. You have a good group of double hets in each aspect of that project.
Okay.
The next 8 tubs, which brings down to 20 animals, is all your triples, all your triple het stuff. As you get there, you start to work on your triple hets. You make as many triple hets as you can, or visual double hets or whatever. Try whatever your options are to get there. Your remaining 20 tubs can be all different codom stuff. Het for ultramel, het for clown, or het for pied. Doesn't matter which one, right? Or just codoms. Then as you start to work that project, I had an ultramel pied 66% het clown. Because you start to breed triple to triple, you're going to start to make that kind of stuff. You start proving that out on OD whatever het clown. It didn't prove. Okay, no problem. I made double hets. At the end of the day, if it does prove and you make clown, double het ultra pied, now you have OD in that pairing. So you've incorporated Orange Dream into that project. You can incorporate Blackhead in through pied or through what was it, Ultramel. There's different ways to incorporate. If I'm looking at a triple, there's lots of times where I'm like, I want to put let's say I want to put Enchi into Desert Ghost Clown. I'm like, okay, I want to get Enchi in there, but I don't want to waste this pairing because it's more important for me to put Enchi into Puzzle right now, right? There's more of a priority for me. I'll look for another way to add it in. So instead of that, I'll go, okay, I'll make Enchi in DG Hypo, right? So now I have Enchi in DG Hypo, knowing that in 2, 3, 4 years from now, I'm going to start tying that back together with Hypo DG Clown, and now I've incorporated Enchi into DG Clown. It's just taken me an extra step, but I've incorporated it into 2 projects at the same time, if that makes sense.
It just seems daunting, obviously. But it just makes me realize that I made the same mistake that everybody does when they get started and didn't have any guidance and bought everything that was either that looked really cool or was relatively inexpensive or males or whatever. And now I've got half a rack of single gene codom crap back here that I make fucking bumblebees and dragonflies and shit with. You know what I mean?
That's still not that big a deal, man. Like you can, if you're telling me that you want to get into, what was it? It was Ultramel Clown Pied?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's you like if you're talking about you want to like retool your collection, I can give you 2 perfect males right now that are affordable for you. I think a Clown Pied is not outrageous anymore. You can with a little bit of saving, you can get yourself a Clown Pied male.
Yeah.
Right? And you can get yourself an Ultramel Pied male. Now those two double recessive males now can go to all your single gene stuff. Start keeping back your single gene double hets. Then maybe let a few of them go and see if you can pick up an Ultramel Clown. Now you have all 3 double visual males. And now you can start to start mix and match them and you're off to the races. But bro, it's not going to happen in 3 years.
Oh God, no.
This is a long term. This is like I'm doing this for the next decade.
Yeah, for sure. And in the process of revitalizing and refocusing the collection, turning it over, there's probably going to be a reduction in clutch numbers for a couple of years because I might move stuff out or I'm waiting for stuff to grow up because I buy new hatchlings or whatever. But at some point I got to look at it and be like, okay, we can do this. We can restructure. We can refocus what we're doing. But I have to do it at a pace that allows the production to still pay for everything to be sitting here because it is its own entity. You know what I mean? Like, and we've decided that we're not running house money through this room. This room needs to support itself, which is fine. It just means I have to do it at a slower burn than maybe somebody else. Sure.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. And, maybe you have different priorities than somebody else. That other person may not have a kid or another one on the way. And it becomes like, I got a little bit more money to throw into it. I understand that stuff's that's not cheap to raise a child. Right? And it's but bro, you can pick up a Clown Pied male. With what I've seen you even just making, it may take you 2-3 clutches, but you sell those 2-3 clutches and you'd get a clown pod, no problem. Same thing with an ultra male pod. You could get that this year, selling your hatchlings, and there you have there's your ultra male pod male, there's your clown pod male. Now you're well started into if you're going ultra clown pod.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I guess the tough part is going to be figuring out what we want to do. You know what I mean? Because you can't do everything. Not even Justin could do everything.
That's the question. Oh, there's tons of projects I'm interested in, but I just don't.
Oh, where'd he go?
Did I lose you?
I got audio, but your camera went away.
Oh, sorry, bro. Sorry, bud.
There it is.
There's lots of projects that I'm interested in, but I'm not in, just simply because it doesn't tie in yet, and that's the key word, yet. You know, just because I don't have Sunset, I don't have it at all. Now, it's not because I'm not interested in Sunset. I'm very interested in Sunset. I'm waiting for the right animal that I'll spend the money for it, but I'm waiting for the right animal that ties into my collection.
Do you know sitting here today, do you know what that is?
It'll be Desert Ghost related.
So it'd have to be like het DG or
het DG
combo
or
double het male, or
even a double het male. I could start to, plug it into some DGs, keep back some pos hets, and then wait for the right male. But and the beauty is I just keep doing my thing with Desert Ghost and with all those. And I start making, combo DG pieds and combo DG clowns. And then all of a sudden, a Sunset DG comes available. And boom, I'm making combo Desert Ghost double het Sunset clowns.
Yeah, all of a sudden Miguel posts that he's hit 3 of them.
Right.
Because Miguel's probably going to...
I'm watching the guys that are doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because he made the double hets like 2 years ago. So he's probably on deck for getting ready for that pairing, I'm sure. Yeah,
I would imagine he is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he did the same thing with the Sunset Albinos. That clutch should be on the ground, I think, by now.
I don't know if he's had it laid yet. But
it's gotta be close.
I haven't talked to him today.
I think he was pairing for him this year.
Yeah, I know he is. Yeah.
Do you think? Speaking of the Sunset Albino, because it's funny you bring up Sunset because I just yesterday, I can't keep my days straight anymore. It must have been today. I just pulled my shot at Sunsets, and it's like the longest odds of all time. It's a butter 66% het Sunset male to an unproven, proven breeder pinstripe possible het Sunset female.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the odds are not great at all.
Yeah. But hopefully it works out.
But my buddy Tim that I got him from, he didn't prove her to be het Sunset, but I don't know enough about it to know if there's markers or whatever, but she's easily one of the brightest pinstripe females I've ever seen. And he's convinced that if she doesn't prove, he's convinced that the male will. To the point where he even told me, he's like, do the pairing. If they don't prove, I'll send you the 100% het Sunset female for your male, because I'm sure he's going to prove. Nice. But, it's like, it's super long odds, but I've seen I hit 5 out of 6 pos sets last year.
Nice.
And so.
I hit like 0.
Yeah. But what do you think? Do you think that the Sunset Albino is the ticket to the red ball python?
No.
Do you think there is?
I think you're closer to the red ball python heading down that Pompeii route.
Oh, so not even using.
Sunset will help.
Okay.
But I think that that black pastel, red stripe, yellow belly, there's going to be, super red stripe in there. There's something else to put in there that can make red.
Or some
red in it. Like it's there. It's just how do we take that color and go further with it?
Yeah, I was going to say that with You know, what would champagne do in that combo? Would it be enough to pull all the pattern out but not change the color? You know, or
who knows?
Or monsoon for that matter, you know, because there's, you know, would monsoon be enough to let the color shine and just destroy all the pattern, or what? Because that's what you're trying to accomplish. You want to take what the Pompeii did in palette, but strip the pattern away from it.
Straight up red ball, patternless is going to be where the way to do it.
Does patternless change color at all?
Not that I know of. I don't think anyone's done anything outside of just patternless, but
yeah,
I would imagine, just based on how everything else works.
There's so few people working that, though, isn't there?
Very few. That if you put other genes into patternless, you could start to get that direction.
Yeah, because I mean, then that's kind of like Justin's theory. Is like, I'm sure the reason he doesn't work with it is because he's trying to manipulate pattern as much as possible, and patternless just takes all of that. You can't do anything with it.
Yeah, although, you know, as that comes down in price, I'll definitely pick it up and play with it, because I think there's some cool stuff to do, like a super orange dream yellow belly desert ghost patternless is going to look like that martini snake on that glass. Straight up orange.
That'd be cool.
Full blown orange snake, like just all orange, like bright.
When you do, I've got the oversized martini glass for the photo shoot.
Yeah, right. Like that kind of stuff. It's not like that I'm necessarily like that. That's not a money project. That's not something that's just something that I'm interested in. It's a little bit curious and like, okay, you want to start to get into some cool pied stuff? You could get into some patternless pieds if it does what I think it will. It just the blotches on pied, but there's no pattern in them anymore. And now you can start to get into like the real panda pieds. You know, super mahogany blackhead patternless pied. Whoa, okay, hang on a second.
Yeah.
You know, the real or like
like the abyss, the super mahogany GHI patternless pied or something like.
Right. Yeah. You know, you want to get into like a true pitch black snake pattern. That's the way to do it.
I would say it'll start to look like a pied retic.
Right. You could get into that kind of stuff.
And if you start bringing in like yellow belly and that, then you get them really cool jagged edges, real sharp edges on it.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think patternless is. I don't think it's a dead end. Everything's a dead end if you don't have the imagination to make something with it.
Yeah.
Right. Just like, and I've thought about a bunch of patternless. I'm just like, just like a pastel DG patternless, like a neon yellow snake. Like the whole snake's just neon yellow.
So how would you identify desert ghost on a patternless if you don't have the blacks to contrast against to know that it actually hit?
Because I would have my doubts that a pastel patternless is neon yellow. Like it shouldn't, like the yellow that is in a pastel DG.
That's fair. Okay.
It should be like significantly more yellow than just a pastel patternless, I would imagine.
The one that I've always found kind of interesting, and I've asked Billy this a few times too, is when you get those genes like that, the super overwhelming pattern genes, patternless, monsoon, champagne, tri-stripe, you know, that kind of thing. What happens when you put them together? Is there a magic combo of ones that overpower each other, or to where they actually complement and bring pattern back? You know what I mean?
I think someone should be working on genetic stripe monsoon.
Because my question was champagne monsoon, which would work or which would win, so to speak.
Champagne.
You think so?
Yeah. I think
G-stripe monsoon would be interesting.
Yeah, I think those are two very strong genes.
Yeah.
Those super strong genes scare me a bit though.
Yeah.
Because it's like you start to like almost bang your head against the wall with some of the combos. Not to say that they're not, you know, there's lots of stuff you could do with them. But you know, I'm much more interested in like you said, manipulating pattern. What pattern can we bring into the animal? Can I change the pattern of the animal? Like what genes does it? Oh wow, that's a different result. Like that pattern's really cool. Let's work with this. But if it's always the same pattern over and over and over and over again, then it gets stale relatively quickly.
Yeah, and it's finding some of those combos that really seem to work really well together, like like leopard and Mojave together, where it takes the alien heads and pulls them all together into a stripe, you know, like that kind of stuff. When you can find combinations in genes that just completely, or even like that, like the Kraken and the Pompeii, and those are bizarre pattern combos that none of us could have ever guessed that would have worked that way.
No, not a chance.
You know, I wonder, because I know Billy and Austin are working towards the monsoon pied. I'm really interested to see, because pied, we all know pied changes the saddle pattern as well as obviously adding all the weight. It's like, is that going to allow that cheetah print, for lack of better terms, monsoon pattern to exist in each of those saddles?
It would be very cool if it did.
That would look super rad.
It would look very cool.
Yeah, that'd look
very cool.
Badass, I don't know if
Pied's one of those ones where you don't know what to expect. You know, and like, for example, some clown pieds are if you covered the head,
you would never know.
You'd never know it's a clown pied.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, I worry there that it does pied allow the monsoon in. Like the pied G stripe was basically like patternless pieds, not stripe. You don't see the G stripe, just a patch of color, right? You can't really see the actual genetic stripe, and so I don't know how that'll react. I mean,
what about tri-stripe? Do you think the tri-stripe will show?
Tri-stripe which?
Do you think the tri-stripe will show in pied?
I doubt it. Pied's pretty strong gene too.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was making fun of Joel at State 48 I guess it was a little over a year ago. I had him on one of the early ones of these, and I was on their show, and you know, he tried last year for the sunset pied and missed.
Yes.
And I told Joel, I said, Joel, I have zero clue what I'm talking about. We know that, but here's my verdict on what's going to happen. The sunset pied is either going to be mind-blowing or extremely underwhelming. There is no middle ground.
Yeah, it's probably true. I think it's going to be the more towards the very good looking.
Yeah, and I wonder, other than color, I wonder if you're going to actually be able to tell. I'm really curious to it.
Oh yeah, you'll tell.
You know, it's like the sunset clown to me was not all that impressive, in all honesty.
I mean,
by itself,
I can see why you say that, but there's a ton of potential there. You know,
no doubt. I'm just saying, by itself, was not impressed. I was more impressed in the hypo sunset than I was in the sunset clown.
Right.
You know,
I want to see the DG sunset.
That'll be nuts.
That's the one.
I want to see it. Well, we've seen it with Lavender. That one. We've seen it with Ultramel. That one came out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's as colorful as I would hope it would be. You know, at some point, those palettes are going to overlap quite a bit. But
I find that a lot with T positive stuff.
Yeah, I'm more interested to see it in Lav than anything else.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, especially if you start bringing in stuff like Black Pastel or Blackhead and Leopard and that kind of stuff that you've seen where Justin takes and inverts those colors and goes to like the stark white purple look.
Right.
Where's Sunset going to meet with that? That's where I want to start seeing.
Who knows? That's the beauty of it. I mean, maybe Justin knows already.
Yeah, he probably does.
Yeah, he probably has a pretty good understanding of what it's going to do. My simple brain doesn't fathom that stuff. I just like, maybe it'll be cool. Let's try it.
So what if you had the opportunity today? And this is always the dumb question. Somebody always asks, what is the dream combo? Well, the dream combo never exists. That's a moving target, obviously.
Right.
But let's do it this way. With everything you have at your disposal, what is the combination you'd like to see if you could produce it tomorrow?
I'd like to see something like a super OD, black pastel, cypress spot nose, hypo DG clown.
It sounds so ridiculous, but I know you've got all the parts to make it.
Yeah, we're getting there.
You know, it's funny when people say stuff like that, and because everybody could just sit here and rattle off a whole host of genes, right, in some crazy combo. I don't remember who it was that told me this, but it kind of reset my thinking a little bit. And it said to the effect of, let's say you put a black pastel yellow belly spot nose clown het DG to a pinstripe fire DG het clown, right?
Sure.
So potential of 5 codoms and the DG and clown. The odds of you hitting a normal are exactly the same as the odds of you hitting the all gene animal.
Yeah, I hit a 164 normal this year.
Yeah, that part kind of set me back a little, like, oh fuck, that sucks. You know, it's like, but you're saying when you got that many genes at play, the odds are the vast majority of them are going to be in that middle 3 to 5.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember hearing, I think it was Chris Ward. He did some pairing, I think it was last year, whatever, with some multi-codom banana pied male making banana pied male. And I'm like, why would you buy a male making banana pied male? He said, because every time I miss on banana, it's a female pied combo.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, that's kind of smart, you know? It's like, I look at him like, no, I sold my male maker banana pied male proven breeder and bought a juvenile unbred or unproven female making banana pied male just so I can make female bananas because they're worth more. But that's kind of like you said, it's kind of short-sighted, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I try to stay away from banana in general. Me personally, it's not really my gene. I don't really love that color palette. Now, some of them are spectacular. Some of them are just spectacular. But I find a lot of bananas blend together, and it's like, what is this one? Hard to ID. Now, there's some combos that are just stupid. You know, like Ozzy made that banana OD black pastel cypress. It was just like, what the fuck? Like, that's real? Yeah. You know, like just stupid nice. And so there's lots of banana combos that are like that too. So I'm not knocking banana. I have plenty of it. It's not, I stick, I would say always with a banana female. Just for my personal preference.
Yeah. Yeah, we did, so like I said, we changed that. And I did that because I want to make a long-term goal of mine, and I probably should have just bought a banana pied female to begin with and started raising her, quite honestly. But a long-term goal of mine is to make Suma super banana pieds.
Okay.
And to do that, because I think that's going to be the key to the purple pied.
Could be.
Or on its way, at least.
I think you'd be better off personally with just a single dose of banana in there.
Okay, possibly. But
I think you'd be a richer purple that way.
Yeah, this is my point. I can now take that male next season, because now he's ready to go, and put it to my mahogany het pied female. And if I hit the combo, it'll be a female banana mahogany pied. Right? Then you can start raising that up, and by then I should have a Suma pied male that's ready to go. And I could potentially that year make banana Suma pied male or banana Suma pieds.
Right.
Which will be both male and female in that case, which would be kind of cool. But that was the reason I went to that. But we did buy a banana phantom yellow belly female for the same reason. Like, if I'm going to do banana, I want it in my females.
Right.
Because then it makes female making males and more females, which makes, they're both more valuable than male making males, obviously. But it gives me the ability to have males and females so that I can go 2 directions at the same project simultaneously. And then we ended up with a really cool freeway combo male that's going to that next season for hopefully some banana freeway combo stuff, you know.
Okay, yeah.
But it's interesting how some of those genes work. Like I do still have just a male making banana male. It was the very first snake I ever got. And to be honest, I think he's gay because he has never bred anything successfully. He's like 1,700 grams. He's absolutely massive for a male, but he doesn't breed anything. And we were at this point just keeping him because it was our first. He's like a pet, you know.
Right.
But my wife is kind of detached from that, so he's probably one of the first to go because I just flat don't need it.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
But you know, I've said multiple times. I said in my last egg cutting video, like with Spider, I know people have an aversion to Spider. I like what Spider does in a lot of things. I think it looks cool. I have Wilma as well for the same reason. But I like Spider, but I don't want Spider in my males.
I just accomplished the impossible with Spider, actually.
What's that?
Crazy odds. I bred a Spider female, combo Spider female, OD, yellow belly dream bee. And I got 6 eggs and I got 0 spiders in the clutch.
That's awesome.
Never happens, ever.
Yeah.
Normally like 6 spiders in the clutch.
Yeah, I think the last clutch I just cut had, oh, they're right here. I think a third of them, something like that. A third of them have Spider in it.
Yeah.
But I refuse. I have one, but he's going out this year too. But I don't want Spider in my males because
I agree.
If I have Spider females, I can control how many spiders I produce this year.
Personally, I don't want Spider in my collection, but it's a slow.
Yeah, and I might start leaning on Woma instead for the similar style pattern influence without the issues.
Sure.
You know, that one happens to be Scaleless Head. And, you know, what are your thoughts on the Scaleless stuff?
They look cool.
You know, it's like
I don't have any. I don't have any intentions of getting any.
I don't know what to do with it. That's my problem. I made the one last year.
Yeah, and they look wicked. They look fake.
Yeah, she's freaking rad. She's hands down the best eating hatchling I've ever produced.
Yeah.
She's growing she's like almost 600 grams already. She's just now a year old, like just going nuts. And I did a pairing this year. I'm 26 days out on eggs over here. I want to make, because I want to see what it looks like more than anything, a scaleless ultramale combo.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
So I put my pastel and cheese scaleless head male to my pinstripe ultramale. But like we were talking about earlier, that completely took me out of ultramale this year because it's the only one I've got.
Yeah, and like I said, it's from just from this brief conversation, you're all over the place, right? Like
no doubt.
You're all over the place.
No doubt.
You know, a bit more focused approach would be, I think, very helpful for you.
The problem is I'm going to have to accept the fact that I have to get out of certain projects if I'm going to do that. I can't be in Hypo and Pied and Clown and DG and Ultramel and Sunset and Tri-Stripe, and I can't be in all of them.
I had to make a choice.
Yeah.
Desert Ghost and Hypo, I looked at them both and I was like, look, these pretty much fill the same kind of like enhancing gene within a collection. This is years ago, 2011, something like that. So I got rid of all my Hypos, all of them, every single one, loaded up on Desert Ghost. Best decision I ever did. Went with Desert Ghost over the Hypo stuff. Not that I don't love Hypo. I love Hypo. It does some amazing stuff. I just decided to choose. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to go one or the other. Now, this many years later, my Desert Ghost stuff is well developed, and I can bring in Hypo DG. Somebody else did the Hypo for me, and I could just bring it in, and it ties into everything.
Yeah, I definitely need some much more experienced guidance for sure. That's where we're at, because I'm getting discouraged. I go through, like, even my wife's even knows, I go through these cycles with this stuff where I'm like, you know what, fuck it, let's just sell it all and get out. I'm done with this crap.
Yeah.
To
everybody, bro.
Yeah, to like, oh, I'm excited. I'm starting to get eggs again. To I cut the eggs. I'm like, God damn, it's another handful of fucking fires and pastels and bumblebees and shit. Like, at some point, it's not worth my time for a $150 snake. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm starting to progress. The collection is improving. I'm holding back some cool stuff, and I gotta wait 3 years for it. Like, you know.
So here's the question: why are you doing those pairings?
because I don't know what else to do with them. And I've only got, I mean, most of my females are basic single gene or 2 gene stuff.
If you're in that situation and you're like, I don't know, I don't have a use for this, I'm just going to breed it just to breed it, move on from that female or move on from that male. Generally, it's the male.
Yeah, it's just a hard thing for me to wrap my head, and I get that. And that's why I said we need to like sit down and draw out a plan, you know, like this is where we're going and this is how we're going to get there kind of deal. But I have a hard time selling a proven 9 and 10 egg laying fire female. You know, yeah, it's only a single codon, but
I wouldn't sell that female. I'd sell the male.
Yeah, and then what?
Because I can make some crazy shit with a fire female, man. Like some really crazy stuff with just a fire.
Yeah.
You know, I breed a OD yellow belly Enchi clown to a fire. It's a good clutch. It's making some good, like worthy, like good heads. And if you hit that loaded female, sell the rest of the clutch and keep the female. I think every single pairing that you do, there should be something in it for you. Every single pairing that I do, every fucking one, I'm looking for an animal in that pairing for me. Not for say, like I'm doing this clutch to sell it. I never do clutches with the intention of selling the whole clutch. If you see me say this clutch is available, it's because I missed the odds on what I was looking for. Every single clutch.
No, that makes sense.
Because that's how you progress, right? That's how, like, okay, I did hit the odds on this one. I missed on 4 of them and sell the full clutch. But when I hit on the 5th one, okay, there's an animal that I'm looking for. This helps me get to where I want to go. Hold this back.
Yeah.
You know, that's the, you know, I don't do the money clutches. It's just not, it's never been going into the season being like, I'm going to breed these together and I'm going to sell everything that comes out of it. I'm like, then I'm not even going to pair the female. It's not exciting. I'm not going to waste the male's energy to breed just to sell them. It's the stuff sells anyway. People pick up pieces of projects, right? So it just becomes kind of like this. And look, that's just my way. It's not the right way or the wrong way. It's just the way I do it. But I don't look for money clutches. I look for clutches for me. And everybody that's buying stuff is buying stuff that didn't necessarily work for me, but might work for someone else.
John, you're not wrong. John Feely said in the comments, says Jason's face was like, shit, why didn't I look at it that way? No, dude, and John is right, but this is why, to be fair, most of my open mics are more about just hanging out with people that I've met in the hobby and just, you know, it's like 2 dudes kicking back, having a beer kind of thing. And seldomly is it about snakes. But I knew coming into tonight that there was no doubt we would go down the snake route because, like I said in the beginning, you're arguably one of the top players in the game and you have one of the nicest collections and make some of the coolest stuff out there, which means you're doing something about it correctly. And I'm just trying at this point, I've realized I'm 3 or 4 years in or whatever. I've decided, you know what? I am going to do this. I am going to take it seriously. I spent the money on the equipment. Now let's make this room be as efficient and as effective and as profitable as possible with the limited space and time I've given if I'm going to do it, right? And so now I'm starting to outsource info from guys like you and from Billy and from Justin and from Ozzy. And, you know, there's some big players. Like I'm trying to get as much of that. And I knew coming in tonight, that's what it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be as my collection is horrendously disorganized as I thought it was going to be, but it is.
Bro, that's good. I mean, dude, you can't just like overnight it happens, man. Everybody does this. I did it. You think we went into this just being like, oh, everything's going to go perfect. I'm going to buy the perfect animal at the perfect time. No, dude. I kept shit I shouldn't have kept. I sold shit I shouldn't have sold. I had stuff that didn't line up. And then eventually something just clicked. And it was like, why am I trying to do all of this?
Yeah.
You know, I cannot possibly do all of this to the level that I want to do it at, you know, without 12 full-time employees. You know, it's just not possible. I can't do it. You know, do I want to make 200 different new crazy sunsets every year? Hell yeah. But I can't. You know, it's just not. I just got to grab a bottle of water. I can't do that. So it's one of those things that, you know, just.
Damn, look at that nice ass cove ceiling and like, man, dude.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Little house tour.
Yeah, we got the raw edge bar top and everything, man. You guys all set up.
But I can't I can't do it all, you know?
Yeah.
And so I want to do, okay, this is what I want to do. What do I want to do the most? What is what is like, okay, this is, I looked at like, you know, there's a lot of like clown combos. And I was like, I really like clown. It's a huge part of my collection. But I looked at that and I was like, you know what? It just doesn't, like, I wanted to do the puzzle stuff. I'm going to go head first into puzzle. And I wanted to do the Desert Ghost stuff. And in the meantime, don't get me wrong, I was still playing with clown, making clown stuff. But, you know, my focus was in, let's throw enough shit at the wall that something's going to stick. You know, I put the right genes. I know these interactions work well in clown. I know these interactions work well outside of clown, like these gene interactions. What happens when I put puzzle on top of that? Probably something cool, realistically. And so I just sort of thought, like, okay, this is what's like, you know, when you are by yourself in your snake room and you're just thinking up combos, what do you default back to every time? Oh, I would love to see that in Ultramel. I'd love to see this in Ultramel.
That's me.
Then fucking work Ultramel, man.
Yeah. I love the color palette that Ultramel presents.
Then that's your gene, dude. For me, it was Desert Ghost, bro. I want to see, what is that? That thing looks crazy. Imagine that as a Desert Ghost. That's what I always went to. It wasn't imagine that as a clown or imagine that as a pied. It was always imagine that as a Desert Ghost. And so I was like, okay, this is Desert Ghost is what I want to see everything in. Let's start working on that.
Well, I think you might be onto something, because you asked me earlier what that combo would be, and the first thing that came to my mind was the Ultra Clown Pie. And I think that
it's your combo.
I think that I would love to see let's just be honest, all of the clown stuff that Justin is making, all the clown combos right now that Justin's making, I'd love to make those in Ultramel.
Oh, in Ultramel, yeah.
So go with Ultra Clown combos and go with Ultra Pied combos. And like you said, we can bring them back together eventually, because I love Pieds. I will always have Pieds in my collection because there's just something about it, you know?
Sure.
Obviously, clown there's so much you can do with clown pattern and everything else. But I've always been really drawn to the Ultramel color palette and what you can do with it, going light with stuff like bamboo and lesser and that kind of thing, versus the cinnamons and the blackheads and the GHIs and that on the other side. But all of that in Pieds and in clowns also looks incredible.
Right.
So, you know, maybe where we're going is I need to start focusing to clown, Pied, and Ultramel and combining the three of them in whatever 2 and 3 gene recessive combos.
Roll those projects up, they all tie together. Your end sort of result becomes your canopy, right? Is Ultramel Clown Pie. And that once you have that animal, it ties into your entire collection.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at an example of somebody that picks something, you know, Justin's got a lot of things, but Justin's thing is clowns, right?
Clown and Pieds.
Yeah, he took clown and ran with it. But look at guys like John Dog, who went balls to the wall on nothing but Axanthics.
Yeah.
And look at some of the shit that he has made an entire existence on producing the highest contrast, stark white Axanthic combos on the planet. And now he's starting to make those in Axanthic clown combos as well, which is just insane.
Yep.
You know, and I got my buddy Jody Barnes from Pied Productions. All Jody does is Pieds. Period. Insane Pied combo. You know, he's obviously branching out into doubles and whatnot, but they're all Pieds.
But it's Pied related. It's base gene Pied. pied is your baseline, and you have to find the gene that makes you say, "This is what I like."
Yeah.
This is what I want to do, and if that's ultramel, then run with ultramel. Ship out the desert ghosts, ship out the hypos. Call me before you sell the desert ghosts, but replace them with ultramels.
I want to make the pin DG pied before I do.
Right?
Because allegedly the story behind that female, and I have the clutch picture to prove it, but the story behind that female is she's the clutch mate to Justin's original pin DG pied female that he bought.
Okay.
And you can tell if you look at his adult female and you look at the picture, you're like, oh, that's definitely her. The pattern's in exactly the same place. It's definitely her. And this female is in that picture, which means she has to, at bare minimum, has to be 66% het pied.
Right.
Must be. So I love pinstripe and pied in general. So
cool. Really cool.
The pin DG pied just looks killer. So I'm like, I gotta try it. I have to know.
Yeah, I mean,
so let me breed her next year, and because then she'll be worth more when she's a proven 100% het pied.
And then you sell the pin DG pied, and now you can buy an ultramel clown and a
exactly.
No.
Yeah. Man, if this hour and a half has gone like this, I'm a little bit afraid to what the 3 or 4 hours with Billy is gonna be like.
Yeah, man, it's you gotta just. I think the number one thing to do is focus, especially if you're gonna run 40 breeder females.
Yeah.
You can't effectively do desert ghost and freeways and pieds and clowns and puzzles and hypos and ultramels. There's all 40 bins filled with one recessive.
Exactly.
Or one project, you only have one product.
40 gives me the ability to have 5 visual ultramel females, 5 visual clowns, 5 visual pieds, and 25 other combinations within there.
Right.
And then I do that, and then I buy a half rack over here and have a little bit of grow out space and like 8 to 12 very specific males.
There you go.
Because one thing, and I know that this is wrong, but I hate when I put my breeder board together for the year and a male only has one female to go to. It seems like it's wasted.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. I have that. I have that every single year.
Or I have a male that's literally sitting here in the tub because I couldn't find something to do with this year because I had a different plan for that female. I'm like, okay, now what am I doing?
It happens every single year. I have multiple males that didn't get bred this year. Like bunch, like probably like 10 to 15 that I didn't even touch. But they're not. I'm not done with them. I just switched gears with what I was doing this year with those girls.
Well, it could. I mean, you could do too. Like you could have these 5 male or these 8 males breed this year and make a whole whack ton of really cool shit, and then next year they get the year off, and these 8 or 10 breed this season. It's a whole different palette of stuff, and now we can start combining holdbacks from both seasons and just make it.
One thing that you should be able to pick up relatively inexpensively right now would be pied het clowns, clown het pieds, ultra het pieds, pied het ultras. The ultra clown is its own thing. That's a much more that's a more expensive project right now.
Yep.
But that'll come down. And in the meantime, work on your clown pieds and your ultra pieds and build those projects up. And then when you get an ultra clown, it ties into that. And dude, you're breeding ultra clown to pied het clown, and you're making clown double het ultra pieds to go back to your pied het ultramels, and now you have ultramel pied het clowns. That's that's the way to do it, man.
It's tough.
But like, look, you said you're gonna do 20 clutches. What do you average per clutch? Ballpark. It doesn't have to be exact.
If I take what we did last year, it works out to about $1,200.
So, and this the snake room's got to pay for the snake room. So you did 20 clutches times $1,200. You're $24,000. You can get a lot of pied het ultramels and ultramel het pieds and clown het pieds and pied het clowns. You probably even get an ultramel clown in there with just the value on what you sold this season.
Yeah.
You know,
well, and you know, and that's one of the things when I spoke to Billy originally about it, because I know he kind of gave me an idea where he's trying to get to, which is unfathomable. But you know, when you run a 7-figure collection, it's a different. He's doing the same thing you and I are, but with more zeros. That's just how it works. Yeah. So is Justin, because he's got 3 times as many animals, you know, or whatever. But you know, and I'm not afraid to, like I said, I'm not afraid to talk about the money portion of it, because my goal is I would like this to be a sizable supplemental income. That would be nice, you know, help pay off my wife's student loans, put her through nursing school, maybe let her stay home, you know, whatever, right? And so if I could stick with this 20 to 25 clutches a year plan, but I can increase the value of what I'm producing to where now I'm producing $3,000 to $5,000 clutches instead of $1,000 to $1,500 clutches. Operating the collection doesn't change the overall price. Obviously, buying in different animals because we're in a different caliber of animal at that point changes, but the yearly operating expenses of this room are fixed. They eat 1 rat a week, and I buy bedding and, you know, electricity. So if I can make 3 to 5 times as much on each clutch, that's 3 to 5 times more money that I can take home at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's where I'm trying to get to. That's my ultimate goal.
And it happens quickly. It takes time, but like that's sort of contradictory. It happens quickly, but it takes time. You know, it's one of those things that, like, next thing you know, if you just do it year in, year out, year in, year out, this is what I do. I'm holding these stuff back. I am unwavering with I'm keeping this. And that, you know, a lot of people kind of, you know, give me a hard time. Oh, you never sell anything. It's like, yeah, because I'm breeding for me, not for you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want to buy the what I don't want to need to keep anymore, then it's for sale. But like, you're not going to come to me and say like, hey, that snake that you just hatched that ties in perfectly to your collection, what's it worth? Yeah. Like, to me, a lot. You know, so why sell it?
Well, and what's cool, and you're obviously in this position, and so are anybody else that's in this full time, is you're in a place now where your byproduct is your paycheck, is your livelihood.
Right.
That is a really sweet position to be in, I'm sure, because that allows you to run the business and make a paycheck and keep your lights on and a roof over your head and go on vacation and everything else, but you're still keeping back the best of the best of the best for your own collection, because you said you breed every pairing for something to put back in your rack. Right. And you let the byproduct run the operation financially, which is right. That's awesome. I, on the other hand, have to breed to make super fires so I can sell them for $400 a piece just to keep the lights on.
No, you don't.
I'm just saying that's the way the collection is sitting currently.
But if you were to take that clutch of super fires, the full clutch of super fires, sell all those super fires in that clutch, you could upgrade your male to an ultramel pod.
That's my point. No, yeah. So this year this is going to be another, which I'm fine with. Chris Eaton hates the term, this is another building year, because everybody he interviews is like, oh, well, I haven't really made any money yet because I just keep, it's been a building year. Last year I had a number one baseline goal was to replace everything that I had built from scratch with Freedom Breeder Rex, and we did it. So now the next step could be, like you're saying, produce enough here and sell off the stuff that I don't need to breed anymore to replace them with, you know, half a dozen ready to breed clown females and ultramel females or whatever, and some killer, you know, combo male or whatnot, and totally change the shape of how this looks for clutches moving forward.
Oh yeah. And
may not bring any money home this year, but that movement in the next year or 2 or 3 could be tens of thousands of dollars coming home in the clutches to follow.
Yeah. you know, what you get to a position where you're, you know, the income generated off of each clutch is, you know, 5 figures on each clutch, and you're still holding something back out of each clutch.
So I couldn't even fathom 5-figure clutches.
Yeah,
I know it's possible. I just, you know, I mean, you look at like
very possible.
You look at like JP. He bought that Pompeii maker or whatever, you know, something similar to that male, and put it to 5 multi-codon clown females last year. You know, and everything he makes is $2,500, $3,000 here, $1,500 there, $4,000 there. I mean, those are $10,000-$15,000 clutches.
I don't,
you know,
what have I hatched this year? I don't think I've had a clutch this year under five figures.
Fuck.
Legit. And then, like, I don't have anything for sale right now. It's all gone. It's all selling out of the air. Everything's gone.
You know, and that's the part that blows my mind is it seems to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, but just from the outside looking in, it appears that the higher value, the higher dollar stuff moves faster than all of the cheaper paycheck snakes.
Yeah, way faster. We posted that Enchi Desert Ghost Clown.
Yeah.
And we had multiple offers on that already. And it's, you know, that, you know, sort of what that's worth.
Yeah.
It's, you know, yeah.
I can't.
And there's another clutch that's, you know, 10 or 5-figure clutch on one animal in the clutch. It gets crazy. You know, you look at Justin's Kraken clutch, man. That's like a 6-figure clutch.
Yeah.
Like, it would be close. Like, it might not be quite 6, but it'd be really close.
Do you think that? So when I make it sound like I've been in a lot, I haven't. I've been in 4 years, something like that. But when I first got in, there were people making combos, double recessives. I remember when the sunset really started to hit, they were $10,000, $12,000, $14,000, you know, whatever. Hell, the scaleless were pushing 10 grand a piece or whatever. And then it seemed to rapidly dive off over the next 3 or 4 years. Are the days of the 5-figure individual animals, you think, are those gone?
No, not even close. Not even remotely close. In fact, I think they're back with a vengeance.
But you need to go 2 and 3 recessives deep to do it, though, right?
No. 10 grand?
Yeah.
Bro, Pompeii's like 20.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're the oh dude, like, yeah, man. Like just a straight single gene monsoon is like 15,000. A Desert Ghost Clown is what, $12,000. Yeah, you know, it's hatch a DG pie. See what happens. See how many people call you. It's obscene. It's obscene. Those days are not gone. In fact, I think they're back even more. Okay. I think we're going to get into, you know, in the next, I'm going to say the next 3 years, you're going to start to get into the you know, $30,000 animals again, $30,000, $40,000 animals. Make a Super Orange Dream DG Stripe Clown. What's that worth? Like, you know, make it again too. So
yeah, that'll be interesting because that's where, you know, that's where ball pythons started. We're in the mid 5 figures, low 6 figures animals in that, you know, and now it's come.
You get into like some of these combos, man. Like, you know, what is if you're saying that a Desert Ghost Clown is what I haven't kept up to date with the prices on them, but I believe I saw one that's a pastel DG Clown that's over 14,000.
I didn't think they were that much.
I believe that was the number that it was sold on Morph Market.
Jeez.
And you get into that. So what all of a sudden, what happens when you make it het pie? Desert Ghost Clown het pie. You know, I know a guy that has one, and he wouldn't let it budge for anything less than 20. So now you're into the 20. Now, that's just for DG Clown Het Pie. What if it's Orange Dream Enchi Fire DG Clown Het Pie? Wait a second.
Yeah.
Now you're adding a ton of value there. And those animals like are not easy to make, obviously. So when you hit them, like that's gonna be a relatively expensive game. And I think you're gonna definitely see animals back in the 25, at least 25 plus. In fact, they're there. There's lots of animals out there that are.
I guess it's just hard for me to fathom what that looks like, because I'm nowhere in a position to buy something like that, and I haven't made anything, obviously remotely close to 5 figures at all. So it's like that part's hard for me to kind of wrap my head around. But I guess you're right. I mean, they mentioned in the comments here that that guy that was walking around at Arlington with that was a Jaguar or whatever the hell that retic was. That thing, he was turning down offers for 60 G's for that one.
Yeah, but
that's nuts.
Yeah,
what the hell? What is zebra? Somebody else mentioned in here zebra.
They're a new recessive gene. Well, not that new, just new to the market. We were offered like a significant amount for that. The most I've ever been offered for an animal for that pastel desert ghost puzzle when it hatched.
Yeah,
we were offered a lot. And I turned it down.
Ocelot, that's right. That was what that retic was. The Ocelot.
Hard to turn down, but
yeah, no, I can't imagine.
But again, do I take $25,000 now, or do I breed it and make God knows how much? I don't know.
20 animals that are all 15,000 a piece or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's your stance on Bambino?
I think it's cool. Outside of that, I haven't paid all that much attention to it. From my understanding, it's 2 genes that are doing that.
Okay.
It's a double combo that's doing that. From my understanding, I talked to Mills about it when it first popped up 2 years ago, and it was well into the 10-figure range.
Yeah, definitely.
Do
you think there are still genes, obviously dynamically different genes to be discovered, or are we now in the realm of picking up multiple variations of the same thing?
No, I think there definitely happens. I think that definitely happens. I mean, and a lot of them will be genes that pop up within a collection. I mean, spontaneous mutation is a thing. It's real. That's a real thing. Where did the genes all come from originally? It's mutated, right? It's a mutation. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And that's the story that they believe happened with Puzzle. There was a spontaneous mutation. Those 2 parents made puzzles. Those 2 parents never again made puzzles. That puzzle made all the rest.
Wow. Interesting.
So that can happen. And you see and then you get into, I mean, it's crazy how many more combos you can do with just 1 gene. Imagine like all of a sudden another gene as impactful as spot nose were to pop up. It's just like, whoa, okay, hang on. We get to redo everything.
Yeah. Huh. It's a lot to think about, man. It's a lot. Beast asked about what do you think about voodoo? I don't know anything about it other than
voodoo? I don't know. I have a funny feeling. I have a funny feeling that's the same stuff as that Hatari stuff. I shouldn't say it's the same, but similar.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's similar. I think. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong gene. Don't hang me for,
Where are you at on the Stranger Mahogany controversy?
I don't think they're the same thing. I think they're probably allelic, but I don't think they're the same gene.
So in the same way that like black pastel and cinnamon are when they make similar supers, but they work differently in their own combos.
I mean, are you going to see similar combos? Absolutely. But you're also going to see drastically different ones. I've got a pastel yellow belly stranger. And this thing's fucking crazy looking.
Yeah.
It's so like the blacks are so black. I don't think a pastel yellow belly mahogany looks like this.
Hell, probably not.
Like, I don't think so. I mean, if it does, maybe I'm out to lunch here, but
yeah, I noticed that. I don't remember who did the video, but at Jason Amos's place with his mahogany or his stranger stuff.
Insane.
Some of that stuff is killer. Yeah.
Insane. Actually, he's the one that
Dave Kaufman's video.
He's the one that convinced me to get into Stranger. I saw some of the stuff Jason was making. It was like, fuck. It was the GHI stuff that really made me okay. It was like a Stranger Leopard GHI. I was like, God damn, that's cool. Okay, let's land on that. By the way, while we're there, can we talk about how insanely crazy it is that Roland ended up with Monsoon and Stranger, Moray and Stranger,
like accidentally?
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're in that camp that Moray and Monsoon do the same thing.
I can't say they're the same thing until they do a pairing, but
yeah.
I mean, if it looks like a duck and sounds like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck, you know.
What about 4S as Python just brought up? What about Blitz, Trick, and Hurricane?
Likely very, very similar genes. I mean, I've seen the Super Blitz now. It looks pretty Super Hurricane to me, but you know.
So when
the thing is, you can't ever prove that they're the same or that they're different.
So when something like that happens, how do I put this? If the community, which we never would as a whole, but if the community as a whole accepted that Blitz, Trick, and Hurricane are all the same, much like Banana and Coral Glow, right?
Sure.
Or Butter and Lesser, does it bring the price of Hurricane down or bring the prices of Blitz and Trick up?
Neither. They're gonna remain this relatively constant.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Why would somebody spend $1,000 on a Blitz or a Hurricane mail when they can spend $400 on a Blitz mail and make the same combos?
It just purely comes down to marketing.
So it's just name brand at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at the end of the day, why do I spend $250 on Nikes and I can get the same Adidas for $100? They're both shoes. There's a reason I buy the Nikes. Right? It just comes. That's what it comes down to. I think it's, you know, there might be a slight adjustment, but you know, I think that most people understand that Blitz. I don't know so much about Trick. I don't really follow it much, but Blitz and Hurricane are very similar genes. Whether they're not the same or whether they're like, how do you prove they're the same? The best you can do is prove they're allelic.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
You know, how do you prove that? But then at the same time, how do you prove they're different?
We're hitting them deep questions now.
How do you prove any of this shit? Like, realistically,
is it even real? Like, we're into this psychology stuff now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, patterns and color techniques, I guess. It's just, you know.
Yeah.
The community is very like divided when it comes to certain things, and I understand it's because the financial aspect in there.
Of course,
but
it is.
Remove all of that out, and like you know, these guys arguing about genes online.
Well, to be fair, I'm just we're all, I don't say we all, but we're all biased in one way or another, and I'm just as guilty. I only have bananas in my collection. I don't have any Coral Glows.
Sure.
Because I think the name Coral Glow is dumb.
Yeah, sure. You know, one of my really good buddies, you know, he's not into the snakes at all. And and he always, like, I'll explain to him the drama, what's going on. He's like, so what's going on in your snake world? I'm like, oh, you know, these people hate each other because they think that these genes are the same. And he's like, yo, you realize that like from the outside looking in, like these are like adults arguing about patterns and colors on snakes on the internet, right? Like that's like, come on, you know? Yeah. But now I understand there's the financial aspect there. That obviously fuels everything. But you know, I mean, shit, is Hurricane and Trick the same? I don't know. How do I like?
And really, I guess, and I guess at the end of the day,
can you say that they're making the same thing? No, you can't. But you also can't say they're different without, unless you want to get into like genetic testing and are these genes the same gene? Sure, you want to spend $250,000 to find that out? Go ahead.
Yeah, and I guess at the end of the day, who really cares? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like if you want to live in Cadillac land, you buy into Hurricane projects and breed those. And if you want to drive a Chevrolet, you buy into Blitz and Trick and breed those, despite the fact that the two vehicles are literally the same on the inside.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it comes down to if you're just buying Hurricane to reproduce Hurricanes and say, nope, mine are Hurricane, they're worth more, you're not thinking far enough ahead.
You're not really helping this problem either.
Yeah, because if you're, you know, if I can go out and I can produce red stripe, chocolate, spot nose, Blitz clown, like let's say a red stripe, chocolate, spot nose, Blitz clown versus a red stripe, chocolate, spot nose, Hurricane clown, there's no difference in price there.
Yeah, who's gonna care? Exactly.
Yeah, there's no difference. It's the same shit. Like it.
Yeah.
If they look the same, whichever one you're working with, call it that.
It's like the confusion.
I have Hurricane. I have one Hurricane female. I just got a clutch from her actually. She's a het clown. She's a pastel yellow belly red stripe Hurricane het clown. And it's just like, you know, I'm not concerned about the name. I'm concerned about what does the babies look like? Do they look wicked? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's work with that. Same concept with, you know, the enhancer and Desert Ghost. I don't care which name you use. Which line you want to work with. I care about what does the animal look like. If it looks good, get that one, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the confusion acid static thing or whatever. Like Justin made that blackhead confusion dreamsicle. If Josh Jensen next week unveils the blackhead acid dreamsicle, they're going to be priced right on par with each other, and it's not going to matter which one it's got.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although I have to say, when it comes to line breeding, if I ever was going to get into one of those, I would probably go to Josh for acid because his acid stuff looks phenomenal. It is so good.
Yeah, I got I have confusion, and I have one acid female. But not like I don't chase the codom stuff like that, man. Yeah. I'm so focused on the recessive combinations that I could have grabbed confusion many times. I don't have it in male. I have confusion in clown. I have confusion, combos, but always on the female side. But I just wait for the right. I don't chase the $10,000 codon male. No, that's not where I'm at. I'm working on the recessive stuff and building up combo double hets and working that direction. And eventually someone's going to make a confusion clown. And I'll shell out the money to buy that to tie into everything else.
Yeah, I'm just saying when you're even in that case, like if I was waiting for the acid pinstripe het clown female to put in my racks or whatever, right?
Females are different. You want the females?
I would do, but I would do it. My point is, you look for specific things that you're talking about, like Ultramar. You look for specific things that speak to you, or there's traits in certain line breedings of certain people that like Tom Barnhart's black pastel stuff. There's no denying his black pastels are different because of what he's done with them. He's line bred them specifically to be good. And Josh Jensen's acid stuff, to my eye, is better than everybody else's confusion, static, acid, whatever. They're much sootier. They're much darker. They've got more almost looks like they're bleeding on it. Like his stuff speaks to me. So if I was going to want to bring that into my projects, whether it be one of those 3 genes, I'd wait until Josh made it.
Sure.
You know, or something from his lineage, right? Because I like his stuff. It would be like saying, you want high intensity orange dream? Wait till Ozzy produces what you're waiting for.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Absolutely. And certain guys have certain stuff, it's just the way it goes.
Yep. All right, man. Well, I know that you and I can sit here and talk forever. I also know it's, oh, hey, look, I got a compass on my watch somehow. I know that it's late your time and whatnot, and I know it's late on my end of the world too. But dude, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out and kind of
thanks for the invite, man.
Kind of making me rethink this. We'll definitely, you and I will definitely have to get together off of the stream or whatever, and I'd like to, if you're down for it, I'd like to pick your brain on some ideas on what kind of way to go with this and start moving that direction. Especially now as females start to lay, as males are done, I can start looking to moving them out, whatever, and we can slowly start progressing that way, over the next year or two. So, dude, if nothing else, man, I really appreciate the input. And obviously I know the guys, I've been watching the chat, and, a lot of them have said this isn't the first time they've heard this speech from you, but every time it's worth taking notes. So it's been good for sure.
I mean, yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody in the chat. It's, just work with what you like, man. Really.
That's the big one. But see, I like it all. That's the problem.
Work with what you like the most.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm going to set you aside real quick and sign off with these guys, and we'll call it a night.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out, man.
Cheers, guys.
All right, guys. There you go, man. Freaking Will. I knew it was going to be a good one. I didn't know that he was going to crush all of my dreams and realize that my collection needs complete overhauling. But like I said, that was in the works already. I know Billy's not in here anymore, but a big shout out to him because he's certainly going to help in that the best he can. But yeah, for those of you guys that if you just stumbled across this at some later date or whatever, and you don't know who Will is, his stuff is the first link down below. You need to go check it out because there's, especially in the world of DG, there's nobody like it. So huge thank you to him for sure and all of his info. And I hope you guys did take notes because everything he gave us is enough to certainly improve all of our collections. So that's going to be it this week, guys. I know I haven't had any regularly scheduled videos. I've just been slammed. I do have some time off coming up. So I'm hoping I'll have a video for this week. If not, certainly next week. Eggs are hitting the ground. We got stuff to go over. Like I said, I did just pull the clutch for possible sunset. So stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed and you've got your notifications turned on for when the live streams come up to do the egg cuttings. Because there are 4 clutches cooking and another 12 more behind me that are waiting to lay anytime now. So it's going to be eggs for quite a while. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight, you guys. And I'll see you in the next one. See ya.